The market is, as usual, boring. But right now, XRP is breaking higher. We need to actually see how the market is going to respond, but the price is slowly breaking higher, which shows buyers are entering. When you look at XRP BTC on a 4-hour time frame, this is a 1 hour, so this is a higher time frame. Here, XRP is breaking higher against Bitcoin. Now, we also can see that the MACD right now is in the positive territory, and usually we gain more momentum when we are in the positive territory, right? So this was in the negative territory where we crossed to the upside, which gave us a double bottom signal. If we just focus on the MACD on this time horizon, this actually gives us an idea of a double bottom and the price is slowly moving back. What will be interesting for us is to actually observe the same happening on a 12-hour and then on a daily. So right now, yes, we are bouncing off. It does look good on the short-term horizon. And what's even more interesting here is on daily, it does show you there is a possibility of a double bottom and we're just slowly trying to break back higher. So when we go back onto XRP USDT, you can go on a 4-hour chart and say, yes, we broke higher. There is a possibility where XRP is going to break through this range, which can be interesting. Now, why is this interesting? Because if we are able to break through this one to the upside, now the short-term move to the upside becomes like this range. So it's not too much, but it still gives you an idea that this range of price action is being erased. Now we are trying to move to a higher price territory. And on a daily, that does show you like, okay, this range which has acted as an accumulation territory here is also happened to be the same of accumulation. We came back into that territory. We got forced down with the FTX issue. And if we are breaking back higher, you know what happened here. And if you want to look for the days, because most are actually concerned about patience. How long should I be patient? We see like, from that bottom till that top, it was just 16 days. And from the break higher here to the top, it was just 3 days. So are we going to repeat the same? We don't know. But the possibility does show you the same, that when you are in the market and if you miss these candles, which are like the best days in the market, which can come at any time, no one knows. You kind of miss 50% of the actual gains in that run up. So we are going to look at some of the assets in this market and see how the market is responding right now. Some of these meme coins are trying to push higher at a time when Bitcoin is not moving much up, Ether is not moving much up. So it's going to be interesting to see how XRP is going to behave. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. Earlier today, I was in the class and I was preparing in the CFA class. And while I saw this one in the break time, I was like, okay, there is something brewing, right? I took the screenshot, I dropped in the group immediately, as soon as I can. And right now we are observing that the price here is slowly breaking higher. Now that's a shorter time horizon. That's a 4-hour chart. This is a daily. So you go back on a 4-hour chart and you can see like, okay, we are now slowly breaking back higher. And we also get to see this one. So initially we tried to cross to the upside, but we were not able to do that. But right now we are slowly trying to do that. Now, why is this so important? This is important because at the same time in the market, you see a lot of XRP being moved here and there. It's not only one transaction happening, it's a lot of different transactions happening. So you kind of see like, okay, something is happening. It can be like the speculation of the other end where, banks are moving on to the ISO and something is happening, or at least people believe that it's going to happen. But we are here in 48 hours, we can see if we are going above $2 in XRP, that speculation kind of gets more strength. And if we go about $3, that's like, okay, wild speculations. It seems like that, but it's becoming true. Now, what are the odds for that to happen in 48 hours? It really is too hard to actually get that much high. Because this is a weekly chart which we are observing, and we can see like 4 weeks was needed for us to reach this high. So if you look at each 10x requirement in XRP, it always took like 4 weeks. Only in the first blow off, which was like the Fomo gathering, it was a little bit shorter. So when you started breaking out here with a little bit of small candle, then a large one, then a large one, it was 3 weeks. Even if you neglect the first one here, you can still say that it took 2 weeks. So that's 14 days. Now, why is that important? You go on a daily chart here for XRP and look at what we talked right now earlier in this video. From the bottom till the top, when XRP runs higher, it needs a week. It's clear. Now, you can say, okay, this was the bottom, this is not the perfect bottom, and that gives you 16 days. But that was a retest and bounce. So if we are considering the current scenario, which is a retest and bounce, we can say, okay, there is something. So not 1 day or 2 day. Market can go into FOMO for sure when we actually observe the MACD crossing to the upside on a daily. And on a 4-hour chart, we get the same on XRP Bitcoin, which usually gives us an earlier signal that XRP is going to move higher. So this is the MACD, this is the RSI we are looking at here. And the way the RSI is positioned right now shows us that the short-term fluctuation here is getting congested and then it broke higher, which actually is a good news. Why? Now, when you go on a 12-hour chart, you remove all those to try and connect this resistance, then this resistance, then this one, and you continue to plot that one. Now, what you can see is that the price reached this range of resistance trend line, slowed down there, the market reacted at that range and broke higher, which is actually significant. Why? Because you broke higher, and before that, you kind of got a double bottom, which is kind of a textbook pattern, which actually gives you strength. Now, most of us know that double bottom pattern look like this, but the variations of double bottom patterns exist, and this type of one gives you more confirmation that the strength of buyers is high because they did not allow the price to come here, or the FOMO was like, okay, this is low, this is really undervalued, let me buy this now. That kind of narrative is existing in the market right now, and that is really great for anyone who's holding XRP. Why? The swell even just went off. We did not actually get big announcement like central banks and all. There are reasons for that. Now, that's maybe just me, but I really think when Brad is actually giving you this timeline, that says a lot of things. They're saying, okay, we're going to submit this by the end of November, this month, and I expect judge to give some kind of clarity in 2 weeks towards 6 months. Now, 6 months, when he gives, it's kind of a safety margin where he can wrong, where the judge can, take more time, because this is going to be a big decision. Whether it's against XRP or for XRP, it's going to be a big decision. Because if the judge is going against XRP, what that judge is doing literally is she's going against the world. You need to understand that. Brad put this one on stage, on TV, everywhere. United States is the only country where XRP is a security. In this planet, this is the only country where you have that kind of political drama to slow down a native company, which is surprising. It's not like a Chinese company being slowed down in US. It's a US-based company being slowed down in US. Whereas they are adopted, they are welcomed in other nations, right? So the judge, if she's going to take that argument going against XRP, she will have a lot of explanation to actually do, because the appeals will go on for sure. The first question is like, why this country think like this? Now, there can be a lot of different take on this, but the most important thing is that this can also happen in a month. And that's what fueling right now in the market. Because if we say like, okay, if Brad thinks there is a possibility of 2 weeks, what if the judge goes for XRP in 2 weeks? And that is one of the reasons why we actually see a lot of price predictions. Now, there are a lot of different analysts which have different thought process. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, short-term signal flashes for price to discount, which means slow down or go down. So I'm actually looking at what resistance or what support these analysts are talking about, and it's like 0.368, 0.341. So then I go back into the chart and I ask myself, like, am I actually watching the price making a slowdown movement or the price preparing to go down? Now, in one assumption, which we usually take positively, is that when the moving average crossed to the upside, just after that or just before that, close to that, you usually get a price movement to the opposite direction, right? So here the price moved up just after the price crossed, the moving average crossed to the downside. So there was a correction, but this is a small movement. It's not a huge movement. Yes, there was a movement, but it was not a huge movement. So if the price come back down, it may not be a big, long wick to the downside. It can be just 3 to 5%. And in crypto market, that's nothing. Because right now, as we talk, this is what's happening in the market. We had this breakout thought process. We were saying, okay, this is a double bottom pattern coming in, which shows strength in the market. That's why I highlighted the RSI as well, which is the strength index. Then right now it's being priced into the market in a way that you observe the 25-day moving average is now here at a time where the 9-day moving average is crossing to the upside. So now when you look at the market for USD, which is more important for us because most of us are not going to cash out into Bitcoin. Rather, we are all going to look at XRP. Now, when we go higher, what will be the biggest stop? Either this level, which is going to be 0.58, or the first major resistance is going to be this range. Previous resistance turned into support, and most likely 0.43, 0.44 will be acting as a resistance because the price was respecting that range. Now, when we come back down here, this is also interesting. It was a previous support, then acted as a resistance for some time, and right now we're trying to break through that. So when we get this level done, it's moving out as a resistance and started to turn in as a support, which again will be interesting. Now, fine, we are here trying to cross to the upside in the MACD on a daily. So we just zoom out to a 3-day chart to see where we are. Now, this is really important because on a short term, when your MACD is trying to cross to the upside in the negative zone, usually if you are bearish or you are in a consolidation range at the bottom, you would actually look like the MACD is here in the bottom, negative territory. But on a 3-day, you are in the positive zone, trying to slow down and go back up, which actually gets a little bit more strength because right now it's not a pattern bottoming, it's like a trend line bottom, which the price is making a double bottom kind of event and then moving into the positive territory. Now again, yeah, you can step on, you can go look at the weekly and say like, yes, there was a trend line resistance and that seems like we broke that a little bit earlier. And on the RSI side of this for a weekly, you can also argue that we broke higher, we came back, we are trying to retest and bounce, which will be another narrative here. So on the technical side of this is really interesting. But on a weekly, what's the negative stuff? It's not only bullish positive stuff, right? We also have to think about what's going to be the negative one. When we have a candle like this, bearish one, long wick to the downside with the FTX issue coming in, then if the next candle is not going above 50% of the last candle, it's still just a small retracement. So if we are able to actually move above this range and test 0.4, close to 0.41, 0.42 will be the next resistance, that's actually okay. So if you are coming back here up to this range, which means majority of this particular candle has been erased. To observe that, you'll have to actually go back on a monthly chart where you will see right now we are trying to create a wick. But we don't know where this candle is going to end. This is a monthly candle. So we still have like 10-11 days to complete this month. So by the time we complete this month, if you're observing a long wick, that's a good news. You made this bottom, you went up, you came back, tested that bottom, and buyers are pushing the price back up. So that will be the narrative on a monthly chart, which is actually bullish. Because if you are looking at a short term and saying, okay, on a daily, this is what I'm observing, XRP has room to slowly break higher, then the general market is also something of interest for us, because there is no way when the entire market is down, completely down, XRP can move higher. There will be few assets. Now, this is really possible. Bitcoin is low, Ether is low, but XRP can move higher. But that's going to be a short-term game where you're not looking at all-time highs, but a swing high. That's possible. And there are some assets which we are following right now, which seems like it's highly correlated with XRP, and it does show you a huge possibility that they can also break higher. So the pattern which you observe here in XRP, say a 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, the double bottom and trying slowly breaking higher. Now you come on, you look at, say, a small cap coin, which is, say, Dent. You can go look at Dent on the same time horizon. You can go on a 4-hour chart and then look at this. You'll see something similar. And I'm a little bit really surprised watching a double bottom. You make this high. Now you're slowly trying to break higher. You have somewhat similar structure of price, which is trying to put in a double bottom, trying to break higher, which we saw here in the XRP, which is really interesting. So if that's true, there is a lot of XRP investors who are in Dent as well. Now, here, one thing is like it's a small cap coin. You have a long way to go, but the risk is also absolutely higher. So if you are familiar about the project, if you are sure about the fundamentals, then you are looking at this, right? But right now what we're talking is when XRP goes up, it won't just be XRP. There is a huge possibility that these highly correlated assets can also join into that one. So you are going to observe certain set of assets which have high correlation in this market moving higher. So their covariance will be increasing, that's for sure. And you will be observing how the market is doing this pattern, which is long-term pattern. Right now, yes, we need to break higher, and that's what we are waiting for. And as we do, we will be updating it here. So again, guys, when we are here in this market, you have a lot of different questions. You have a lot of different assets, doubts regarding all those. If you are looking for that particular asset, whether it's bouncing from a support or just going back to retest before it again go back lower, if that narrative is still there, you should be cautious in that assets. And that's what we are right now doing in the Patreon. If you want to have a look at that, you can look at the link in the description below. And also, I would also like to request you guys to check out this channel. This is a new channel of ours, and we are starting to slowly work on this channel whenever we have time. And if you have 5 minutes, listen to this and give me your thoughts, which will be really helpful. So guys, that's it for today. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.